environmental issues? You can unmute yourself and you can answer me. That's okay. Alfred, you can unmute yourself and you can answer me.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Over the
So
global issues.
what Alfred we are talking about is the global environmental issues. Some environmental issues which are globally we need to think about that, and it is a global hectic at the present scenario. So which are there? Which are that issues?
As in,
As in,
I should mention the the things which are affected.
right? But which are that? It has some particular
Okay.
name.
Uh, Over the North Pole. Just say that the North Pole is melting because of high temperatures, and
Yes, yes. But
the water sea level is also rising.
okay, okay. That is the global environmental issues. You're right about it.
Yes, and the apparently the ozone layers has been affected, so
Okay.
the temperatures have risen. uh, and what else? Hmm.
Okay, so let me conclude this. So, when we are talking about some global environmental issues, the first thing which comes into the mind is which are the global situation, which are the global problems that we are facing. So, first of all, we can say it's about a global warming. Now, when we talk about a global warming, we have few of the questions that what is the global warming and what are the effects of global warming and how we can prevent global warming and what are the causes of global warming, right? If we go through all these points, then we can understand that how to reduce global warming or how to get protected from global warming. So in here, now when we are talking about the global warming, can you tell me what is the reason for the global warming? Can you tell me the reasons for global warming?
It's because of temperature which has risen, which is caused by the ozone layer which has been affected.
Okay. So I appreciate your attempt, but the ozone depletion and the global warming, these two things are purely different from each other. Global warming, although ozone depletion is one of the causes to have a global warming, which leads to a global warming, but more than about that, the pollution which has been created by the human being and the industries which are settled down by the human beings, some thermal power plants and this types of things which releases carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxide. So these are the few gases when it get releases to the environment, what it shows is it shows that it will create a pollution. Now, why it is a pollutant and what it leads to a global warming is this pollutants, what they do, they absorb the heat inside their molecule and does not allow Earth to cool down during the night period. So what happens at the ultimate time? Ultimately, what happens that at night time you will not feel that Earth temperature has fallen down, but it remains same or the fall is negligible. And due to this, the temperature which has to be raised at a morning rises much more than it was previously, right? So this happens with global warming. Some gases which absorbs the heat from the atmosphere is one of that is carbon dioxide. Another one is methane, right? Third one is ozone. Also, if ozone is in atmospheric surface which we known as a troposphere, if it is available in troposphere, then it is a pollutant itself. So these are the reasons what happens and why this pollutants takes place, and after this pollutants, what happens is uh, the pollution takes place, and the global warming is the result of this pollution. Uh, I'll show this into a PPT itself. We will have a share sort of presentation also. Give me 1 minute. Okay, so this was all about the global warming. Now, what if we are talking about the ozone? Right? When we talk about the ozone, ozone is a layer which protect us from ultraviolet rays which are directly coming from the sun. What happens with this? That ultraviolet rays which are coming directly from the sun are not that convenient for the life, human life, and I can say vegetations, animals. So all this environmental activities does not have a direct exposure of sunlight because it passes through the ozone layer. Now, can you say me what happens if there is no ozone layer? What happens if there is no ozone layer? Then what will be the problem?
If there is no ozone layer, we would actually experience very high temperatures, and would actually have we would have not been able to actually survive here because the temperatures would have not been able for us to handle them. So I think the ozone layer protects us from direct sun heat. So we would have had direct sun heat, and maybe the rains would have been very high. That's what I think.
Okay, you're right about that. Now, can you do you know something about ozone layer that what it is made up of?
No, I don't know what it is made of. Hello, sir.
Yes, Alfred, we will go to the definition also. Uh, Okay, so when we are talking about the ozone, what it is? So ozone is created in atmosphere when the sun rays splits oxygen molecule into the single bond. Thus, atom combines with a nearer oxygen to form three or a trivalent oxygen molecule, and the ozone is formed. Now, o- ozone is the three molecule of oxygen, that is O3. Now, why? What happens with this? The ozone layer has been created with a two covalent bond and one singular bond with the oxygen. So the third molecule which connects with the oxygen O2 is in not that condition that it is having a strong bond. This bond is not that strong. This bond is quite weaker than the bond between two atoms of oxygen. So at the time when sun rays falls in it, what happens? This bonds get created, and it acts as it acts as a layer over there of oxygen. And once this bond is it breaks down again after the sun rays comes, and again the procedure remains in continuity for everything. Now, what it is, let's see. See, this is how ozone layer is. The ozone layer protects us from the outer sun rays. Now, what is ozone layer? The Earth atmosphere is composited of many layers. Each layer has a significant role. So we have been through the atmosphere and the layers of atmosphere, and in that we have been through the layers also. First was troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, asthenosphere, exosphere. So these were the sphere to which we have gone through in our previous lectures regarding to the atmospheric layer. So this all layers has its own duties, and they play a really very good role to protect the earth from the outer space. The first layer stretching approximately 10 kilometers upward from the earth's surface. So it is talking about a troposphere. The troposphere leads up till the 10 kilometers from the ground level of the earth. The stratosphere, now that is the next layer, which is known as the stratosphere, and stratosphere approximately it is from 15 to 60 kilometers from the earth layer. The ozone layer sits in the lower region of stratosphere, about 20 to 30 kilometer above the surface of earth. So where this ozone layer is, the ozone layer is in the bottom. It is in a bottom of a stratosphere. It is in a lower region of stratosphere, which is near about to 20 to 30 kilometers above the surface of earth. The thickness of ozone layer is about 3 to 5 mm, so it is really very less. Now if you see 3 to 5 mm, this means half of the centimeter. So the layer is very thin, and hence it is easy to deplete or to overcome with this layer. Ozone layer is the deep layer in the Earth atmosphere that consists ozone, which is naturally occurring the molecular containing three oxygen atom. So what it is a layer which has an ozone gas over there. Now, in this ozone gas, this lower region of the stratosphere consists of relatively high constitution of zone is called ozonosphere. So this layer is also known as an ozonosphere. Ozonosphere is found in 15 to 35 kilometers, 9 to 22 miles above the surface of Earth. Now see, you can see here the thermosphere and how Earth layer changes from place to place. So distance of this from the Earth changes from one place to another place, and this is what it happens, right? The Earth atmosphere consists of three main layers that differs in thickness and chemistry. The thickness of innermost layer and the troposphere decreases from the equator to the pole. So at equator the thickness of layer is high, and when it reaches to the poles the layer thickness becomes less, and the distance also gets decreases. The greater amount of ozone occurs in a stratosphere. So greatest amount of ozone is available in stratosphere. And see here you can see this is an ozone gas layer, and you can see that at a pole this layer is very much thin. It is very much thin. Now, what is about the concentration of ozone in ozone layer is usually under 10 parts per million, that means 10 ppm. So, every 10th part per million is of ozone, while average concentration of ozone in atmosphere is zero point 0.3 part per million, that means zero point 0.3 ppm. The highest concentration of ozone occurs at altitude from 26 to 28 kilometer in the tropical region, that means nearby equator. So that's how India is, that's how Africa is. So many places in world are near to the equator, right? From 12 to 20 kilometers towards the pole. The essential property of ozone molecule is the ability to block solar radiation of some wavelength less than 290 nanometer from reaching to the Earth's surface. Now, so what this ozone molecule does? This ozone molecule resist the ultraviolet radiation, the wavelength which is directly falling to the Earth, which is which is having less wavelength of 290 nanometer for reaching the earth from reaching the earth. So it protects us, which is for it protects us from the sun radiations, which is having a wavelength less than 290 nanometers. In this process it also absorbs an ultraviolet radiation that are dangerous for most of living beings. So in this process, what ozone layer does and what is the role of ozone layer? The role of ozone layer is to protect the living beings from the dangerous effect of ultraviolet rays. The ultraviolet rays could injure or kill the life on Earth. So that is the reason why we are thankful to the ozone layer. That is what the ozone layer does. Though the absorption of ultraviolet radiations warms the stratosphere, but it is important for life to flourish on the planet. Although, due to the absorption of ultraviolet rays, it warms the stratosphere, but it is important for life to flourish on planet Earth. Thus, the ozone layer plays a vital role in a life chain. Now see, what this is how ozone layer is, right? Ozone layer, what it does, it see here it is not allowing direct radiation to enter onto the earth. Here, a radiation occurred because it has a low concentration of ozone over there, and that's the reason entire radiations has entered to the earth. Now, what do you know by CFC gas? Alfred, do you know something or anything about CFC gas? Alfred, do you know anything about CFC gas? Alfred, am I audible to you?
Yes, are you audible?
Yes, do you know anything about CFC gas? What is CFC?
No, honestly, I know nothing about that.
Okay, okay. So CFC is a chlorofluorocarbon. Now, what is chlorofluorocarbon? So this chlorofluorocarbon, it was being used in refrigerators, air coolers, freezers, air conditioners before 1995. It was widely used to cool down the temperature. It is used to cool as used as a coolant in the refrigeration process. But what happened? The CFC gas releases from a refrigerator or air conditions, and where it leads to the ozone layer. Now, when it goes to the ozone layer, it breaks down the bond which was there with a. It breaks down the bond of ozone layer, bond of oxygen with O2 atom, and it completes a covalent bond with a oxygen atom, which does not allow oxygen atom to form the ozone, and that was the reason why ozone depletion took place. So now when the CFC comes out from the ozone layer, then and only then ozone could be protected. We can protect ozone layer, then and only then we can protect our ozone layer if we remove the CFC gas from the atmosphere. But that is not a viable process. You cannot do this that frequently and that easy in that easier way. Right, you need some really very precautionary measures, because if a soil is polluted, if land is polluted, then we can again regenerate it. But if air is polluted once, you cannot regenerate air, you cannot purify air. You can do that, but it's really very hard process. So it is a harder process, and that's the reason why we don't do this, and it is very much costly also. So now let's see what is chlorofluorocarbon. It's billed as a most extremely utilized ozone extensively utilized ozone depletion substance because it attributes more than 80%. It contributes more than 80% of overall ozone depletion. So this was the most dangerous gas which has led to the ozone depletion. It has played a vital role because it has played 80% of role in the depletion of ozone layer. So it is most harmful gas. Thus it is the most harmful gas. It was utilized as a coolant in the home appliances like freezers, refrigerators, air conditioning in both buildings and cars, and were manufactured prior to 1995. So after 1995 the revolution took place. People came to know that this is very much dangerous gas, and thus they stopped using it in some of the appliances in some of the countries. But after some few years, the treaty was done with the entire world that they will not use a CFC gas in the appliances. Now, what happened? See what happens with here. Here you can see the ozone molecule, right? O, O, and O. There are three ozone molecules. Now, CFC, what it is? Chloro. So there are one, two, and three chlorocarbon over there. Chloro, fluoro and carbon. This is made of three component. So now what happens, this one chlorine atom gets connected with one ozone atom which is having a weaker bond. So now what happens, there is an oxygen and there is a uh, oxygen chloride. There is oxygen and oxygen chloride. So there are two atoms now formed. There is no formation of ozone there. And that was the reason why ozone depletion took place. Now we will not go through this, right? Because you are supposed to prepare it by your own. So, Alfred, in next lecture, what we are supposed to do is you are supposed to prepare a presentation on ozone layer and what are the effects, what are the worst effects of ozone depletion, and what we can do to protect an ozone layer, and which are other gases that are not allowing to which are not allowing ozone to work in its proper manner. So you need to search that and prepare a presentation on this, a short of presentation I can say.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so that's what you are supposed to do in the next week. And do you have any query or any question related to this? You need to upload that in a Google Classroom itself because you are already there in a Google Classroom and you can connect over there, right? You can upload directly over there. No need to mail me or WhatsApp me.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so be here. I'll upload the assignment so you can see that. And if you have any query how to upload that, then you can tell me. So I'll help you that how you will be able to upload this.
Okay.